Right everybody, this is a very special place for me. We're back here in 2024 to fish the Veterans World Float Fishing Championships, Bulgaria, Plovdiv. And anybody knows that's followed my career and knows me, this is where I became World Individual Champion in 1989. So it's a special place for me. The memories. So I thought, well, I'm going to be here because in them days we didn't have any phones or anything like that. I've got a bit of video, but I'm going to recap what I did. So this is what happened during the actual match and how I fished and everything like that. So this is Plovdiv rowing course, and you can see from behind me, you know, it's facilities for everybody, water sports people. Round it there's a road and you see bikers and runners. I mean, there's thousands of very sporting place. And yeah, so it all happened here. So we came over in 1989. Let me tell you, this was a really poor country. We got a big shock, and like a proper shock, like with food and what these people had got. And coming in 2024, I can't tell you how happy I am to see how it's changed. I've been back twice before, but I've seen a massive change now. Quite staggering. And I'll tell you something, I've got a smile from ear to ear because I walk and I see people that have got things, and got facilities and things like that, and they had nothing in them days. It were unbelievable. And it were a big shock to us, even in 1980. I mean, 35 years ago this. It were a big shock. We'd never experienced out like it. But God, you want to see the place now. So about 4 weeks before then, we'd come over for a practice. Sir Richard Clegg was the manager, and the squad was me, Dennis, Stevie Gardner, Bob Nudd and Kevin Ashurst and Dave Roper. And for me, Dave would reserve, finish at reserve. But they were the best anglers for me I've ever fished with. I fished with great anglers like Alan and Will and people like that. As a team, they were just like, wow, special. And with Sir Richard at the helm, just took the world apart really for a number of years. So I come on for a practice, and the match length is down that bank, the right hand bank. But training, before the event we had to fish down that bank, down the left hand. And we caught some fish, pretty obvious it were going to suit us. With wagglers and ends catch on the pole. But when we came training, we were down that end. Well, we knew this before we came. So we're down that side. And I can't remember which order it was, but I think A with the far end and E with this end. I think they've changed it since, but I think in them days that's what it was. So that's what we did. So we've done us training for 5 days, and Dave Roper were reserve. And everything in them days, the draw and everything, were done here at the table. There was a table here and a tent, and that might not have been a tent, and I can remember studying waiting for the draw. They called out England. There were no Sir Richard, and he was stuck in traffic. So I went and did the draw, and I think I drew a 16 or something like that, which meant A16, B16, D16. It's split now, but in them days it wasn't. And of course I got a telling off Sir Richard for doing draw. Which wasn't first one, wasn't my last, and I still get them to this day. So, but you told me off. So anyway, so I've drawn B section, which is the other side of the bridge. So that was the first day. I didn't draw the second day, by the way. I didn't. So I didn't do that. So yes, so we're away, and this is what happened. Right, this is the bridge in the middle of match length. And we are going to be there. The vets, masters are going to be there. And this is where they feed them. A lot of them, look, that's a big boy there, the size of that. A lot of them are silver bream, silver carp, like that one there, which don't count. And this is Harris Pegg, he's just looking at them, look. He's just thinking, right, how am I going to catch these? And this is the opposite bank where we won't be fishing, but I think the disabled are there. They're down this side, the disabled, not quite sure where. As we walk over the bridge, you can see that the masters are going to be there, and we, the veterans, are going to be down here. Just to explain that up there you can see the football ground there, and all the facilities, the hotel and where it's all happening, and where we, in '89, where we had the draw and everything, the presentation is up there. So yeah, and as you go, obviously them carp you can see have been fed, and you don't see any here now because they used to be fed just there. Oh yeah, so what I'm going to show you now is where I drew in 1989, where I drew, and I'm going to talk you through the two matches that I fished as I'm walking over the bridge. This is the halfway point. I think that's about 60 metres. That there's usually these boys, you can see them all joined up. They're obviously there for the rowers, and there and there. They've took them all up for us. Not the fact we're going to be fishing to them because it'd be too far. But we'll see. So yeah, so I'm just going to talk to you now about day one. Right, day one. I drew somewhere here. I can't remember the exact area. I can't remember whether it was B or D section. I thought it was B, but I remember A, B and C being other side of the bridge and C and D down here. But I'm not 100% sure, so it was either B or D. But I drew peg 16. No, in fact, this was definitely B section now I think about it. A was down there because B1 was there and B28 was at the side of the bridge, and I was about 16, so we're about 12 pegs from the bridge. And I can remember being here I'm sure I were here somewhere, and so when we've drawn this peg, see that, don't see that chub there, look, some in the back, see that? Look at that big chub, 2 pound that in the side. So what happened when we came along, and in them games, 1989, you got to remember, I'd only got 2 waggler rods and a pole. We didn't have a lot of gear. But we caught a lot of fishing straight waggler, sometimes when it windy a slider underneath. And all I did that day, I were here and loose fed maggots as far as the go, which were probably 20 yard, and we fished a 2 swan shot waggler on the top. It's about 9 foot deep, and it was just sat there, and after half an hour I ain't caught a fish. Remember, it's a 3-hour match, and I can never forget it because I got stung on my hand there, and it's the only time in my life I've ever been stung by a wasp. And I remember Roger Mortimer was behind me, just there with some other press, and he ran over and he got one of these dabbers that you put on, and he dabbed my hand, and it stung me into action. And all of a sudden I cast back out, and what happened was, in practice we caught all the fish in the middle of his loose feed, and I overcast it by a couple of yards, and I just left it, sank the line. I thought, oh, that's a bit short, and it went under, and I hooked a carp, 2 pound. I thought, oh, that were a bit, chucked out again, past my stuff, and all the fish were past my stuff, and I finished up in 2.5 hours, and I caught 6 carp, 10 or 12 chub. I don't know why I caught these chub, but I did, and some vimber, and I weighed 10 kilo 900, I think it was, and I had about to cast at end. Had a great match, fished a great match. I finished up weighing 10 kilo 900, or 10 kilo something 700, and it won the section. It was top weighting section. But the key was that I overcast where my bait were going in, and I couldn't get a bite in the bait. It was quite weird. And in practice we've been loose feeding lots of maggots, and they wouldn't come into the maggots, and it would just passed. And so yes, I had a great day, and see all these chubs swimming about in the side. All these are the chub that you can see. So yeah, and finished up. I think we were 4th or 5th. Wales, I think, paralysed it. They'd sorted it out, the loose feed. Whether they worked out what I'd done, I'm not quite sure, or I worked out what they'd done, whichever way you want to put it. But without a doubt, that won it me, casting past my stuff. And And yeah, so probably fishing just there with that dark. It's about 20 yard, and just sank my line, loose fed, and just missed a bite, never lost a fish, and had just a steady after I got stung with that wasp, and had a steady session, and so that was day one. Straightforward match really, and I think we were fourth on day one, and but I'd won my section, so obviously I'd got a great chance of winning individual day after. And in them days it were 28 countries, and there were no split sections or anything like that. So yeah, straightforward. I had an easy match, just shy of that bridge, and then we went back, got ready, had his team meeting, and get ready for the day after, which I'm going to show you now. Right, day two, and this is C section, or this was C section in them days. And this section, you wanted to be, you see the bridge there, peg 1 was close to the bridge, and you needed to draw 1 to 10, that's where all the fish were, and just down there. And Dick drew 27, and what happened in them days is all of us were on peg 27, A 27, B 27, C 27, etc. And I needed 1 to 10 to get a medal. And but at that time, you know, it was a secondary thought, because all we were bothered about was trying to win team. So, but the fact is, because I was 27, when 1 to 10 we were out fish were, from the day before the first match, from peg 11 to 28, which was the end peg just there, right? The best weight was 1 kilo 400, and 1 to 10, everybody had more than that. So I knew I was in a lot of trouble. You know, for individually, so my target was, if I finish 11th, I've done my job, and that's if I beat anybody in then 1 to 10, that's as much as it goes. So I've drawn somewhere, I can't remember the exact where I was, but I were here somewhere. So I set off here, and straightforward, loose feed maggots, maybe a bit of sticky mag if I need to, and although we fed a bit of pole line, but you only caught on the poles at each end, like at end of E and the beginning of A down there. So anyway, so I set off, 2 swan waggler, cast it out, 2 pouchfuls in, and first cast it's gone, I've got a vimber, like 12 ounce. Thought, crack, that's a brucey, and cast out again, and got another one, and then another one. And I thought, I never saw a fish caught. Anyway, Kate couldn't say, no, you're doing all right with that. They're not catching so much in 1 to 10 today. Then I caught a little carp, and then I caught these chub again. I don't know why, to this day. I caught 10 to 12 chub when I was other side of the bridge, and I started catching these chub again. And I caught 10 or 12 just on waggler. And anyway, all of a sudden Dick come up to me and said, look, Wales have won it. I'm halfway through a match, so anything you can do to win as an individual, just do it. I said, well, I'm you know, end of the day, I'm doing what I'm doing. He said, that's fine, just keep doing it. We think you're 3rd or 4th at the moment. So all of a sudden I just kept putting fish in net. Roger Mortimer kept coming up. Right, Tommy, you're so-and-so. And with about 15 minutes to go, I says, if I'm 3rd in section, can I be world champion? He went, no, you need to be 2nd at best. And I've gone, right, okay. And it was a famous saying that I said, God, if you send me a carp, I'll go to church on Sunday. And with about 3 minutes to go, float's gone under, and I've hooked a carp. And I realised then I'd only got one option, and I pounded it, rodded it, and I wound, and I wound, and I wound, and I wound, and it come to the top, and I netted it instantly. And I just went, how it did Brett, mate, I'll never know to this day. And I've netted it, and I've looked round, and all English lads there, they're all jumping about like idiots, like jumping about, because then I'm probably 2nd in my section, I've got half a chance. Anyway, put it in net, and we've come to weighing. Now in them days, before I tell you this, you've got to realise in them days life was so much different. The weighing of the fish wasn't good and everything like that. So we had to walk 27 pegs at the end with my fish. And of course I went next to last to weigh in. So Anyway, I think it was Ronnie Run McLeod from Scotland. He'd caught 10 kilos horse, 11 kilos. He'd won the section. But I'd got a right chance of second. And Roger kept saying, if you're second, you can still win it. And so I've gone down there, put him on 5'9", I think I had. And round me, nobody had broke a kilo. And that way, C-section, it were, first 10 pegs were horrific. And I fished, and I still say it to this day, the best match I've ever fished in my life. Caught 5'9". I shouldn't have caught 5'9", I don't know why, but I did. And it was the best match I've ever fished in my life. Never missed a bite, never lost a fish, just everything went well. So we walked all the way down there with his fish and weighed them in. And then I took them home and ate them. And, you know, at time, being a Britishman, I was trying to get them off them, and you got to think it were a really poor country then. I mean, like, you can't believe. And it was, and just let them take them, just what it was in them days. Anyway, so we stood near the bridge, and we thought Cassini from Italy had won it. We thought he'd won his section. And I was there, and one of the Welsh lads had won his section, and he'd got 3 points for beating him on weight, and we thought I'd got a chance of coming silver. Just got to beat Cassini, but it looked like he'd won his section. Then all of a sudden one of the Welsh lads come running up to me. He went, Spud Murphy's beat him. Spud Murphy's beat him before rounds, beat Cassini. Out of the way, so if I beat him on weight, I've won it. I've won it. I'm world individual champion. Now you've got to remember, there was only one world champs there. There were nothing else. There were no ladies, no feeders or anything. It was just that one match. It was the biggest thing in England. And all of a sudden, we're here, and then there's one other person could beat me. And that was Barbetta, the great Barbetta. He'd won his section, but with a big weight. When we knew if he was second, that he could beat me on weight because he got a big weight the day before. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. We were all stood somewhere here where my tackle was. And the Italian president, I mean, there were millions of people walking up and down. And it was like, it went on and on and on for ages. And the Italian president come up, and he walking up, and he walking, and I went, scusi, Barbetta in the section. And he just went, 3. And I went, 3rd? He went, yes. I went, he has 4 points? He went, yes. Oh, champion di mondo, champion of the world. And that was the moment, and we were all jumping about, and then I saw Dick running up, and I run to him, and we had a great big cuddle. And he confirmed it. And then I got to find Dennis, and Malcolm were there, and me and Malcolm were all over the place. We had photos taken here. I had a photo taken with Malcolm that I can't find nowadays. It's one, I know it's in my head, but I wish I could find it. Sorry, I'm filling up with that. So I says to Dee, right, I've got to find Dennis. And he went next section D, and I've run up here. And it was packed, and I was dodging people. There were that many people watching. And as I've run up on that road there, I've run past him, and I've looked, and he's sort of sat there on his box. I've gone, Dennis. He looked up, what's up? I've won it. And we met halfway like them two lovers do on sand. And we hit it, and honestly, it were... Sorry, I keep filling up. Whew. That were a moment I've treasured for the rest of my life. We just met halfway, and it was the biggest cuddle we've ever had. It was incredible. And I was champion at world. And them days, you were on bus, and we all got on bus, and I walked on the old, stood up and clapped me onto the bus, and then we drove all the way around there, up to the centre. Which is the next bit. But them were 2 matches. The best 2 matches I've ever fished in my life. And it were, look at that chub there. So I take him Friday and Saturday. And it were just an incredible, just like priceless. I mean, obviously, if you offer me £100 million at that moment, it's not even close. Not even close. And that's why this place is special to me. And I ain't got much here, but I'll tell you now, at this moment it's all stood up. And so I'm going to show you now where we had the presentation and everything. So yeah, those were 2 matches. It was incredible. I can remember most of it, but it's strange. Apart from the bridge, I don't remember anything. It's quite weird. It's all changed for the better. I mean, you only see the people up and down, sports people. It's incredible. And oh God, what a moment. So let me take you now to where the presentation was. Right, this is where it all happened. This is a bit different. This is the bottom end, and they got me up here then, and I went, I think, in one of them rooms up there to the press conference. Can you believe that? Ah, the champion. How's that for coincidence? Oh, they played this for me. I can't believe it. What a touch, eh? Unbelievable. Of the world. And then come back out, and all this here, we're all full of people. All that seating there, I remember it like yesterday now. You can't believe how many people were here. And I'm not sure that were there. I don't think that were there. I think that's a new one since then. Anyway, they got, first of all, it was all the individual, and I'd done all my phoning and phoned home and everything like that. And then where them flags are then, you'll see with the last bit of the video what happened next, right at the end. It's an old one, but it's priceless. And they stood there, and the parade was down here with some ladies in a band in front, all the way down there. I hope you can hear me, by the way. Down here, I'm waving to everybody up there in the crowd and everything. I'm waving to them just like an Olympic champion. We're unbelievable. Well, like, absolutely priceless. Best presentation we've ever had. Come here, and then there were first, second and third there, and somewhere here along here, and then I shouted in third place, and not Clive, one Clive, it was Richard Branson went up. Second place from Italy, Cassini, he went up. And then the big moment, Champion di Mondo 1989, Tom Pickering, and up I went, and it come up on there on that big screen there, one Pickering, and you'll see from the last little video, went up, put medal around me. Oh my God, yeah. I'm struggling here, to be honest. I've been here twice before, I didn't feel like this. Unbelievable. And you see all that in the video at the end. And and that were it, and everyone cheering, clapping, and unbelievable. And got my medal, and I went down there, and England had come third, and Wales had won it. And we did the same again, paraded us up there. Oh my God, and we got his bronze medal, so I got a gold and a bronze, and I've been, I said at the time I wish I could swap them, and have team have gold and me have a bronze. Would I now? Not a chance. Not a chance. And I'm a team angler, but the actual memories and of what happened and being individual world champion is like priceless, special. Rest of your life you're a world champion, and I always tell that people, if you've been a world champion, you've got it rest of your life. And that's it, that's where it all happened. But all this time was fun. You can see from the last video, which you'll see after all this. And it was so special that these people in them days, and even now I would think, everything were about pride and doing it right, and it was still the best for me. And that were it. So yeah, Viking they called me, Pickering, world champion, 1989. So I hope you've enjoyed it, but there's a little clip now, which I was given by Danny. I didn't know about this, I'd never seen it before. Just watch this.
Italy, 3 points, 12 points. Mr. Richard Benton, Wales, longest totally president of the International Athletic Federation, engineer Stephen Manolo.